You know, I could go on a whole speech about the best games on Roblox require digging, but honestly, I don't want to go into that whole sort of thing. Honestly, it's very boring and generic and just sounds dumb. I'm just gonna talk about the game at hand, stuff about it, and my thoughts on stuff, and all that sort of review stuff. Starstruck is a PvP, arcade-ish type of feeling game that does say it's a, quote, mix between a platformer and casual third-person shooter with a unique twist. And honestly, when looking at the game, you can kind of see the relation, not entirely, but sort of, I guess. That's nothing really to dive into though, because we're talking about the game at hand here. The game is pretty stacked with some depth, as it has loadouts with all sorts of customization at your disposal in the form of some systems that I will get into. Oh, also I just wanted to point out, a few of the game's inspirations are fighting and bug fables. I absolutely love bug fables, so this is a huge win for me, and this channel is basically a fighting channel, so you know my thoughts on that game. Okay, back to the actual video here. You have weapons, which I will get into, so don't worry about that. Charms are kind of like passive gears you have, which help strengthen you. You can make some cool builds with it, like some more tanky builds or speed builds and such. My only gripe with the charm system is that some melee weapons might rely a ton on the vampire charm due to lifesteal, but other than that small gripe, I think the charm system is insanely fun to mess around with. The starter system is kind of like active abilities you could use. Again, nothing too special about it since it's a mix of basic stuff like dashes, to stuff like spawning a spring or putting some sort of status onto yourself. The buddy system is also pretty neat. It relies on combos which are fairly easy to build up, so no complicated thing there, and once you hit a certain amount of combo, you get a buff or something activated depending on your buddy. Like for example, one of the buddies is regen, and they heal you after you reach a 15 hit combo. Like, that's probably the simplest example I could give, since other buddies like Pack do a bit more, but I am honestly not going to explain everything since, well, give this game your own try when you can during the stress test. It's highly recommended. Please play this game. The main attraction, however, is probably the weapons, so I'll get into them very quickly. Sword is very basic. It kind of feels almost one-to-one with Sword from fighting, and yes, I am going to be referring to fighting for this. I am very sorry about that. But yeah, Sword acts like fighting, and even the secondary attack is like Sword's M2 from fighting. Honestly, this is one of the better feeling weapons, especially in the melee category. It feels very fair and fun to use as it's nothing too crazy. I actually kinda enjoy it. Hammer feels almost completely brainless. I have seen some loadouts with Hammer that are actively horrendous to fight against. Trust me, it can get terrible. But other than those types of loadouts, Hammer kind of fits on the line of brainless fun, if that makes any sense. It's a comically big hammer with a big hitbox and big damage. Like, what else do you want me to say? It's very fun in that regard. Rocket is also kind of brainless depending on what type of loadout you like, but it does require more involvement since it's a ranged weapon, and all the ranged weapons are very unique in their own ways. However, I like the Rocket the most by a long mile because it's kind of like an assist splash damage weapon, and I really like that. You can make some insane up close loadouts that rely on avoiding with mobility and abusing your splash damage to annoy the hell out of the enemy. It's fun. Also, that secondary attack is monstrous damage, Jesus. Bubble Basket I just don't like to use. It shoots out small bubbles constantly that do damage if someone touches them, and the secondary attack just throws more bubbles. The problem with this weapon is that the bubbles cannot hit any terrain or else they disappear, so it makes this weapon insanely tricky to use, and I really don't understand it. I think it's a cool weapon, but again, it's really hard to understand entirely, so yeah. Same with the syringe, except I am absolutely horrendous with the syringe. It's sort of a teamwork melee weapon with offensive and defensive capabilities like healing and poison, but I just don't know how it works entirely. It's strange. I see it being very powerful primarily due to its benefits of healing and trading buffs with the secondary and poison, but I just feel clueless using it. There's nothing much else to say. I'll make this next one very quick because it's a charged sniper weapon in the form of Focuser. I hate sniper charge weapons, and the Focuser is a sniper charge weapon. If you like sniping, this weapon is definitely for you, but it's not for me, and that's honestly okay. I like it, I just hate using it. Scythe is interesting though. It's a melee weapon that speeds up the more hits you get before it enters a frenzy mode that attacks very fast. It got a small buff that made it keep up with the other melee weapons, and you can make some crazy tank loadouts with it to eviscerate enemies or become a walking glass cannon that needs to be avoided. It's probably one of the harder melee weapons to use, so be advised, but the reward is great and satisfying. And finally, we have the rollerblades, which kinda feel like skateboard from fighting, as you build up speed by walking, and you have a secondary attack that does more damage based on your speed, but you lose speed when you attack. I genuinely have no idea how to use this weapon. Maybe as some sort of hit and run weapon, but no clue how to make that work. But it's pretty fun and probably one of the more unique weapons in this game I've seen, so I enjoy using it a lot, even though I have no clue what the hell I'm doing with this thing. Each weapon also comes with a special, some share across many weapons. The first one is Starstruck, which is with the sword and rollerblades. You enter an invincible state where you attack fast and can unleash a hard-hitting secondary hit based on your combo. You can still be knocked back in this state, so be careful, but it's fun, does a lot of damage, and I've seen loadouts based on trying to get Starstruck fast to spam it as much as possible. It's pretty dang cool, honestly. Sonic Speaker is only with the hammer, and it places a laser that does a ton of damage in a certain line for some time. It's great area denial, and has also caused me to get my first Starstruck kill streak, so I need to thank it for that, and also Hammer for being stupidly dumb to use. Missile Strike is with the rocket and focuser. It launches a huge rocket to a destination you see, and it does a ton of damage in the area, which could also damage yourself. It's pretty good area denial as well, and while it can be weak at times, the area it covers is huge and can clean out a big area as everyone just runs away from it. It's solid. The final special is Star Shower, which is with Basket, Syringe, and Scythe. It spawns a storm of stars on where you spawn, which does big damage and lasts a good amount to anyone in its small range. It is probably the weakest special due to the possible risk and how small the range can be, but it does the job, and yes, it can deny the area where you are at, which is always just helpful. From the footage, you might realize that Rocket is probably my favorite weapon, and I use a loadout that relies on being as annoying as possible and relying on shield for survival. It's not the best loadout ever, but god damn it's fun as hell, so I'm not even complaining. This game is just straight fun. There's tons of ways to run weapons, so go all out with your creativity, or just equip the hammer and use vampirism and the pack buddy to make people cry due to your brainless joy. But hey, it's something for everyone, which makes this game very accessible for anyone. Oh yeah, let me talk about the game modes, which there's only one called Pinata Party. You basically stand in the range of pinatas that spawn to claim them for your team to get points. There's golden pinatas that give triple points, and yeah, it's basic, but it does get the job done. Oh yeah, I also forgot to mention this, but every weapon has a throwable explosive if you press Q, and it's pretty good. Yeah, you press it a lot if you want really good damage. It's really good. I forgot to mention this, and I have no idea how I forgot to mention this, so I'm sorry about that. But yes, every weapon has a throwable explosive. Oh, let's also talk about the maps. I really like the maps here. My favorite is Highwind Harbor, primarily due to the river that pushes you towards the middle with the boat, and the boat and side bridges serve as small, chaotic, and fun places to fight the enemies and claim pinatas. It's incredibly fun to play this map. Lost in Time is also a great map. It has a fast rollout from the spawns, and the areas you fight in are fairly spacious and not too obstructive, but still fun due to platforms and other terrain for height. I don't know how to explain it, this map is just fun. Seaside Shrine is fine. I like all the layers of this map, so yeah, not much else to say about this one. Sugar Spire might be a little too spacious, but the areas you fight in are surprisingly closed in usually and are hilariously fun to fight in. The only map I am not a fan of is Azure Peaks. It just has a long rollout from spawn usually, which is my only gripe, and most of the fighting takes place on a lower level of the map where pinatas spawn, which isn't bad. It kinda condenses the chaotic parts down there, but I just don't like the awkward rollout. I also really like the buddy character designs. They also have dialogue as well, and I would love to just learn more about them. I love learning about the characters and their lore and all that stuff because I like writing stuff and I just like paying attention to character interactions. The closest we have is mainly the stuff in between games or the dialogue when using Switch. But yeah, love the art and look of the game, and I just want to learn more about the characters, honestly. The game also has its own soundtrack. There's not much to it yet, but I think I'll play a few of my favorite tracks from the OST so far, as the chiptune theme of the soundtrack just sounds nice. Overall, Starstruck is an incredibly fun game to play. Its fast-paced, chaotic, and almost arcade-like nature has me coming back to it, trying out cool loadouts and other weapons to see what can work and what meshes the best with certain weapons. If you are too lazy for that, just use a hammer with vampirism and click away with it to cleave through people. Whatever you want to do in this game is all up to you and what you want to do, and despite the early stage of this game, there's just so much to do and explore. The only real downside I can say is that this game will be playable until March 27th for its public stress test, so unfortunately, it is a game we could play for a limited amount of time for now, as the game is still in an incredibly early stage of development, but I will keep an eye on it, as this game is fantastic and worth playing if you haven't already. Also, a small side note, do not make this game competitive. Have fun with it and enjoy it. It's meant to be enjoyed and not to be competitive and get mad at. But yeah, play Starstruck. It's awesome. I am looking forward to see what the game has in store for the future, and I will now proceed to donate Robux because I love supporting games like this. Please play this game. It's fun.